The Anti-Defamation League is hosting its annual National Leadership Conference in Washington this week. Today, the group heard from Israeli Prime Minister Ariel Sharon via satellite, from the Israeli ambassador to the U.S., and the former U.S. Special Middle East Coordinator Dennis Ross. The event is just over 2 hours.
Good morning, everyone. Last night's dinner beside being delicious was a wonderful start. To have intimacy and warmth among 600 of our family members was quite an accomplishment, and it was palpable. We've got a very, very busy day today. A very exciting day, one that will certainly be part of your fondest recollections when you reflect back on our conference. Shh. By way of introduction, I'd like to have our new director of our Jerusalem, Israel office, Wayne Firestone, please stand up. Wayne, it is a pleasure to see you and to have you here with us. And for all of you, please make it your business to introduce yourselves to Wayne during the course of the conference. I'd now like to call on Peter Alter, Chairman for International Affairs from Detroit, Michigan, to introduce Ambassador Ivry.
Boker Tov, good morning. Glad to see that everybody is up and ready early in the morning. We have a terrific program. All of us who care about the state of Israel have been dismayed by what we have witnessed in the last 8 months. Our schoolyards have become battlegrounds, our buses targets for evil terrorists seeking to spill innocent blood. And peace, which had once seemed so attainable, now seems like a distant and unrealistic dream. Here to discuss the current situation in Israel is David Ivry, the Israeli ambassador to the United States. We are honored to have him here this morning and to host him. Ambassador Ivry assumed his current post after having served in a broad range of public positions. His past titles include Israel's National Security Advisor, head of its National Security Council, and the Principal Assistant Minister of Defense for Strategic Affairs. Ambassador Ivry also made a name for himself in the Defense Forces, having held the rank of Major General and Commander of the Israel Air Force. While holding the position of Commander of the Israel Air Force, the IAF destroyed the Syrian surface-to-air missile batteries in Lebanon's Bekaa Valley during Operation Peace for the Galilee, and he also directed the IAF's destruction of the Osirak nuclear reactor in Iraq. Ambassador Ivry, much has changed since you spoke to us at last year's National Leadership Conference. The Bush administration has replaced the Clinton administration. Violence seems to be the order of the day, and there is less talk of working towards a peace settlement and more talk of the necessity to end hostilities. We welcome the opportunity to hear your unique perspective on the state of affairs in Israel and your predictions on what the future holds. Please join me in providing a warm welcome for Ambassador Ivry.
Thank you very much for the warm introduction, Peter. I don't know what all of you came here this time of the morning. I was asked to come, but I don't know why you are coming. I would like to begin by extending our deepest appreciation to the ADL Director, Abe Foxman. Over the years, Abe has been a central pillar of the American Jewish community and a great friend of Israel. Thank you, Abe. I would also like to thank Glenn Tobias and Larry Miller for their invaluable contributions, and to acknowledge some of my colleagues here, ambassadors, thank you for coming. Ladies and gentlemen, and lawyers, for almost a century, the ADL has built bridges between the Jewish community and the world. You represent the voice of the Jewish people in the struggle against bigotry and intolerance. You have led the community in seeking improvement through action, ending ignorance through education, and protecting civil rights. In my career as a fighter pilot in the Israeli Air Force, I was committed to doing my part to ensure the survival of the Jewish state. In the air, the threats were clear, the fight was fair, there were no UN resolutions, no incitement affect the battlefield, so Israel Air Force could achieve easy victories. On the ground, however, the threats facing our people are not only military in nature, they are also found in the realm of ideas and social prejudice, in the promotion of bigotry, racism, and anti-Semitism, and the denial of the Jewish history and the promotion of hate. The ADL has been at the forefront of combating Holocaust denial, anti-Semitism, and anti-Israel rhetoric around the world. Now, more than ever, we need our continued support. We need your continued support as together we face the challenges of the future. Since the collapse of Camp David summit last July, we witnessed the deterioration of Israeli-Palestinian relations, the downfall of the peace process, and onset Palestinian violence. As Palestinian-Israeli tension has escalated, anti-Semitism has increased throughout the world. In the United States, there has been a rise in acts of aggression targeting Jews. In the Middle East, there has been a dramatic increase of anti-Semitic incitement in the Arab media. Instead of promoting progress, new technologies are being used to fan the flames of hostility toward Jews and poison public perceptions of Israel in the Arab world. Messages of dehumanizations, Jews, and delegitimations Israel are being spread through regional satellite television and internet. This incitement is quickly translated into violence in the streets. From summer camps and school textbooks to the promotion of violent demonstrations, Palestinian children are being prepared for another generation of conflict. Clearly, the time between peace partner and adversary has been erased. The Palestinian Authority has done nothing to stop the incitement and aggression. On the contrary, they have initiated, promoted, and facilitated many of the attacks against Israelis. Arafat has sanctioned the release of hundreds of jailed terrorists, many of whom are masterminds behind bombing attacks in the heart of Israel. Central elements in the Palestinian security forces have been transformed into organs of Palestinian terror. In fact, the major thrust behind the violence has been 417, Arafat's own presidential guard. Since September 2000, we have faced over 5,000 arms attacks. averaging over 13 incidents a day. Israel has endured sniper fire, suicide bombings, mortar attacks, car bombs, lynching, and destruction of holy sites. For 7 months, we have urged Arafat to renounce the violence and the incitement and create an environment conducive to peaceful negotiation, but to no avail. The Palestinian leadership must be made to understand that they will gain nothing from terror. For this reason, Israel has made it clear that it will not negotiate under fire. Despite the ongoing violence, Israel has responded with utmost restraint. We are committed to improving the living condition of the Palestinian people while exploring new diplomatic avenues and eventually returning to the negotiation table. We are doing everything we can to prevent the additional loss of life and property of innocent civilians. As a result of this crisis, the Middle East has changed dramatically. Threats to regional peace have emerged and that are unpredictable, dangerous, and increasingly difficult to contain. The Palestinians aim to internationalize the conflict and destabilize the region in an attempt to force Israel to concede its vital interest. At the same time, Saddam Hussein is exploiting the rising tension to regional dominance, while Iran and Syria continue to encourage Hezbollah attacks on northern Israel. Terror came to be a strategic threat for stability in the Middle East, but not only in the Middle East. It is a strategic threat and factor on stability of the globe. These developments in the region threaten our relationship with even moderate regimes in the region. Indeed, we are facing severe challenges with no easy solutions. Beyond the terror threat, which is developing, we have the weapon of mass destruction and ballistic missile exploration in the region. It's coming to be a strategic problem, not with a good solution. You can imagine if a leader like Saddam Hussein is going to have a nuclear capability, means a lot. There is a story about one who used to have his hobby to fly balloons in the weekends. He was flying and the weather was not as good. There were some clouds. He got into a cloud, lost his vision to the ground, contacted the ground, and after half an hour getting out of it, he lost some orientation, sees somebody on the ground, calling him and saying, "Well, can you tell me where am I?" The answer was, "You're in a balloon." So he said, "You should be a lawyer." "How did you know?" The answer, "You've been very precise, but totally irrelevant." Everybody is telling us that we are in a balloon with the problem of weapon of mass destruction. But it's not enough to know that we are in a balloon. We should work quite a lot before it's going to be exploded. The essential counterbalance to this threat is the continued support of the American Jewish community, a strong U.S.-Israeli relationship, and United States leadership in the region. The United States has stood by Israel since its inception. For over half a century, our unique relationship has reflected our shared ideals and values. This abiding partnership is a cornerstone of stability in the Middle East. The critical support of the United States is strengthened by the unwavering efforts of the American Jewish community as our most dependable friend and ally. You have demonstrated your commitment to our vitality and strength. Without the history of role played by American Jews, Israel would not be what it is today. Let this be the moment when we join together and speak in one voice. We are determined to restore the security of Israel through the unity of the Jewish people. We are committed to laying the foundation for a genuine and lasting peace for our future, for our children and coming generation. My friends, since the day of Ben Gurion, you have stood by us through tragedy and triumph. In only half a century, Israel implemented the Zionist vision. We have ingathered the exiles. We have made the deserts bloom. We have developed into one of the most technologically advanced societies. The history of Israel has proved that the might of a people does not lie in numbers, but in the will and the spirit of the nation. For the past 53 years, the ADL has strengthened our will and our spirit. For this, Israel thanks you, now more than ever, and your mission is now even more essential, as together we work to ensure peace and security for the future of generations. Thank you very much, and And if you have questions so early in the morning, I'm ready to answer.
Let me just give some instructions, Mr. Ambassador. If you have any questions, there are microphones on the floor. Please state your name and where you're from. Yes.
I'm Joel Sprayregan from Chicago. Salachli and Yorachdim. I'm a lawyer, so perhaps what I'm going to say is irrelevant. Mr. Ambassador,
I have some more jokes about lawyers.
And I have more about Israelis. Including my daughter and 3 grandchildren in Talpiot Mizrach. Mr. Ambassador, you are to be honored and loved for your contributions to the state of Israel. But I'm slightly troubled, not by you, by your eloquent presentation. What I hear from Israeli officials lately, as recently as Yom HaAtzmaut in Chicago a couple of days ago, seems to be, to a certain degree, suddenly last September we woke up and realized that we didn't have a peace partner. And I would suggest to you respectfully that the incitement to murder Jews has been going on since day one of the Oslo process, and in many ways that what we're seeing now is the inevitable result of Oslo. And unless we begin rethinking the fundamental premises, I'm not wise enough to think I have an answer, and I don't know who else does. But unless we realize that incitement has been there from day one, and that fundamental mistakes have been going on for 9 years, we're not going to find our way out of this, the mess we're now in.
Well, I don't think that everybody was waking up just last September. And I think that I didn't mention that there's no partner, because the only leader which the Palestinian Authority has is Arafat, and this is the partner which we have. We don't like it maybe, but this is what we have. I agree that the incitement was a major factor. And this is not only for the last time since September, but all the way beyond the 7 years, even earlier. Unluckily, we came up to understand that incitement is more important than just coming to an agreement on having land for peace, or all the kind of formulas or equation which we thought should be to encourage on having a real peace. The education of the people is one of the major factors. It's not only just incitement. I think for themselves and to efforts to mean peace and begin to realize peace is confidence and trust between people, not only just signing papers and giving a plan. I think all of us understand it much better now, and that's why I get so much emphasizing about it, and that's why we need so much data consistent from this case.
Good morning, Dr. Pro. I'm Iftach Levy out of San Diego and earlier from Israel. I wonder if you could give us some insight, Ambassador, about the current Israeli administration's and negotiating team's relations with the American negotiating team, or this administration's attitude towards the process. And we've heard a lot about the Bush administration being a lot more hands-off, and I wonder if that's the impression you're getting as well, and what kind of relationship you're looking forward to with them.
I don't think that we can say that that nation has a hands-off. Because, in the Middle East, you cannot run away from the Middle East. They are going to come to you if you are going to let it. So, everybody understands that the United States should be involved. I think that style and way of doing it, this has been changed. There's no special envoy. It's been done in the normal staff work. And the other idea is to facilitate the negotiation, but not to be involved in, not to be a moderator. To try to give the partners to work together to negotiate, to come up to a solution is one of the lessons which most of us think was the output of Camp David. The less there is somebody else interfere, the better, because the solution should be between the partners. As I mentioned before, it should be confidence and trust building up between the partners, and to come up to a solution that both sides can live with it. If somebody is going to be dictating, it's not going to be a permanent or comprehensive peace. So I think the idea by now is not that hand off of the conflict, because nobody can take his hand off of this conflict. My opinion is, first of all, to be facilitator and not moderator. Secondly, not to have a special envoy, which is in some way administrative decision. And it looks, in the meantime, it can be done. I cannot speak.
Boker Tov.
Boker Tov.
Linda Clifton from Seattle. You mentioned exercising restraint and minimizing the effect upon both Palestinians and the Israeli Arabs. And we don't get much news here about that. And I'm asking if you would give us some details, because we need them. Thank you.
Well, first, the one who is attacking is the one which Palestinian side, not the other party. If they are not going to attack, there's not going to be any response. If we are getting an attack and the soldiers are getting only authorization to respond in fire once there is only a shot of risking the life, is one of the restraints which we have. I think in some way the restraints are even beyond it, because let's say last attacks on mortars, bombs, yesterday one of the settlements in Qatif, injuring 5 bodies over the... Could have been a small country like us could be responding in a very aggressive way, and we are not trying to do it. Even getting into Zone A, which been last week, been condemned about it here and there. You could stay over there. There is no restriction for military power to do it. We are trying to play the rules here until a limit which we think we can continue, keep the door open for peace, for negotiation, for discussion. So it's not very easy what I'm saying. But we have from our people as well, in our society, people from both sides of the spectrum, people are asking for a much more aggressive maybe answer here, and some of them are less. And leading a unity government, which we have not a challenge to, it's not very easy what I'm saying. We are feeling, at least military side, that they've been restrained. They have some rules of game, rules of engagement such that they cannot just open fire when they want or to respond according to political goal which we have to try to keep the door open for negotiation.
My name is Michael Franzlau from San Francisco, Mr. Ambassador. You alluded to the question in a way, but what were the dynamics behind the United States government as Secretary of State Powell selectively attacked Israel for the events that occurred approximately a week ago when we moved into Gaza in full strength and divided it into three parts and then pulled out because of the negative reaction from this government? Is there more to it than I'm thinking? I mean, is this a shift in policy by Powell, or how do you see this?
Standing here as a diplomat, it's not very easy for me to answer those kind of questions about your administration. It's not done. I think what I said before, the policy here, first of all, to be a facilitator and not a moderator, is the principle which we are listening to. And secondly, to support or back Israel without their concept to stop violence and then to go to the political negotiation. In the meantime, we are trying by security negotiation to try to reduce violence. This is ideal. We are getting the backing for it from the United States. And I think this is not fair even here to try to criticize the administration about one side or another. Each one has its own assessment about it. But I must say that Prime Minister Sharon, getting into Zone A, gave an order immediately, once it been approved, that we should withdraw the same day. This was a political decision. The military side wanted to keep themselves over there because they saw that once they have a mortar threat, the only way to give a protection, a real protection to the settlements around, is to disengage the mortars from the effective range of those settlements. That's why from the military point of view, referring back to the restraint, you can keep yourself in the range, effective range of mortars, so there is not going to be any more mortars. Political side was saying we have to go out of Zone A so we can let an option for the future for negotiation.
Good morning, Shelley Parker, New York. I wondered if there were any new public relations efforts being done in Israel to improve Israel's image around the world.
Well, public relations is a new battlefield, which I think is a modern one. It's not really very easy to answer. In my opinion, the Palestinian side tried very much to use the PR media to achieve their advantages. Luckily, on the pictures, it's not very easy for anybody to see people suffering or injured, and that's why the sympathy is normally going to the underdog, and this is the way it's been normally in any society. But once we are speaking about the other media and PR, we are speaking about newspapers, or going to the Hill, or even administration. If you can use the formula of one picture equal to 1,000 words. If you have a time to speak 1,000 plus one, you're gaining. If you don't have the time to explain your position, because the justice is on our side, in some ways it's not an easy battle which we have, and pictures are coming in day by day. So it's a new phenomenon of battlefield of the PR. We used to in Israel, they're blaming that riots are starting only when the CNN is arrived. If there is a traffic jam and CNN reporters are not coming, the riots is not starting. This is part of it, yes. This is part of the battlefield. I think we should improve ourselves in the 41% supported to Israel and 11% to the Palestinians. About 2 weeks later, after the lynching took part in Ramallah, it was about 46% supporting to Israel and 10% to the Palestinians. About 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago, the last poll had been 63% supported to Israel and about 19% to the Palestinians. There is an increase in support in Israel. There is an increase in support in Palestine. I think the underdog is one which has a fact, and the pictures has an effect. I'm not trying to ignore it. But in spite of it, those who are reading, those who are understanding the facts are being supported by Israel. So it's a not very easy battlefield which we have to conduct over there, but we are trying very hard. It's not very easy for a democratic society to find pictures which are not very pleasant to see. We are trying to, not always successfully, have to work harder to make it even better. But once we're getting into the issue itself, the justice is on our side. We've been coming up with a lot of concessions. We came up with an offer, a good offer for the Palestinians to have a state. They were refusing. They were starting to violence. So the justice is on our side. We want to make peace in the Middle East. This is our goal, and people should understand it. It's not that we have a goal to shoot people. So I think the justice is really on our side. We need time to make it understand to everybody. I agree. Pictures are very harming, yes. Thank you.
We've got to move forward. Thank you to the ambassador, certainly for the insights and for your time, especially this early in the morning. Thank you, Mr. Ambassador.
I want to recognize two of the speakers here. Dennis Ross, of course, you know, and Bruce Riedel, both of them been very good friends of Israel and very supportive. Thank you very much for the support.
I would also like to recognize ambassadors to the United States from Austria and from Turkey. If you gentlemen would please stand up. Thank you. Pam Schaffler, our National Planning Chair, will introduce our next panelist.
Thank you, Larry. We are so pleased to have with us Bruce Riedel, the President's Senior Director for Near Eastern Affairs at the National Security Council. As Principal Advisor on all matters relating to the Near East and North Africa, Mr. Riedel is by the President's side as he shapes the U.S. policy relating to developments between Israel and her neighbors. Mr. Riedel has a distinguished career as an intelligence analyst and has served as principal advisor to Secretaries of Defense Perry and Cohen on the Middle East. He has consistently had an open-door policy with our leadership, helping inform us of developments and hopefully welcoming our input as well. With the challenges that undoubtedly lie ahead for Israel, some of which we'll hear about shortly from Prime Minister Sharon, we are very pleased to know that the President's policy may be informed by Bruce Riedel's insight and his dogged commitment to the peace process. Please help me welcome Bruce Riedel.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be here this morning. It's a particular pleasure to be sandwiched between Ambassador Hughley and Dennis Ross, two people who I've worked with for more years than I want to remember. I was asked today to talk a little bit about broader trends in the region and the situation as we see it, not just with Israel, but throughout the region from Morocco to Iran. And I'd like to do that, but before I do that, I'd like to make a kind of a personal note. When I first came to the old executive office building several years ago to take this job on, I hung in my office a picture of General Ulysses S. Grant. As many of you know, I'm despite how many casualties you may take. Always keeping your eye on the end game and keeping moving until you achieve victory. Boy, do we need all of that now, because the situation we face in the region is in a very serious place. Let me highlight three trends. First of all, the acute volatility of the region today. The last year has witnessed more changes in the Middle East and in the dynamic between Israelis and Arabs than we have seen in the last decade. The trends are largely in the wrong direction. The binding tissues between Israel and its Arab neighbors, so carefully put together over the last 20 years, have been torn and in many places ripped asunder. The confidence between peoples is at an all-time low. Polls on both sides show majorities now have serious doubts about the other side's willingness and desire to make peace. The unthinkable of a year ago is now the thinkable. Serious newspapers on both sides write about the risk of a major regional war, a risk that we thought a year ago we had put behind us for generations to come. Let me be careful. I'm not predicting war. I'm not predicting that the situation will get to these great ends. But I want to stress that people in the region are starting to think in these terms. From Morocco to Muscat, we have seen unprecedented demonstrations against the United States in countries traditionally friendly to the United States. We have seen a wave of anti-Americanism that we have not seen since the 1970s. This volatility is further enhanced by two other features. One, the new leadership that exists throughout the region. In many of the most key decision-making places in the Middle East today, we have young leaders, untested, or being tested now in a firestorm. We simply do not know how well they will perform, and other leaders do not know how well they will perform. Second factor that makes the volatile situation even more volatile is the speed of communications and of information sharing. 20 years ago, we waited for the voice of the Arabs from Cairo to lay out what was going to happen, and people listened by radio. Today, they have the internet, they have Al Jazeera. As David pointed out, they have CNN. Images are brought into the homes of hundreds of thousands of people in ways they never were before, and those images have searing impact upon their perceptions of the situation. Second trend or observation I would make about the region today is that the problem of proliferation of weapons of mass destruction is more acute than it has ever been before. More states in the region are seeking to acquire long-range ballistic missiles and warheads to put on them with devastating impact. Iran is number one on the list. The intelligence communities of many states are studying the Iranian problem. All of them agree it is acute. None of them know when Iran will produce its first nuclear weapon. All of them warn that we should be worried about it. Behind Iran, there remains serious question marks about proliferation activities in Iraq and in Libya. Although in both of those cases, multilateral sanctions have done much over the last decade to slow the advance of their weapons programs. There is a paradox about this, of course. The paradox is that our friends in the region, particularly Israel, have never been stronger in conventional military terms than they are today. 2 decades of hard work by people like David Ivry and Dennis Ross has ensured that the IDF has a qualitative edge unlike any it has ever had before. But the paradox is, as that qualitative edge has improved in conventional terms, the enemies of peace have sought to develop unconventional weapons to try to equalize the balance. Osama bin Laden, Hamas, all of them. Their range of activities goes far beyond the region and threatens American interests globally. Most disturbing of all is the fact that they are all thinking about unconventional weapons as well. The threshold for terrorists to use unconventional weapons is one that experts continuously warn us is probably coming closer. That's the region we're dealing with. Let me spend a few minutes just talking about what the Bush administration is doing to address these problems. First of all, let me counter the myth that this president is not interested and not involved. There is a perception out there that President Bush has put the Middle East on the back burner. Nothing could be further than the truth. This president understands that if you put the Middle East when it's boiling on the back burner, it will boil over, and the front burner won't be there anymore. From the day he came into office, the president has been deeply engaged in trying to find a way out of the crisis we face. The first two National Security Council meetings of the principals were held on Middle East issues. In his first 100 days, President Bush has written to every leader in the Middle East with whom we have relations and has spoken to every one of them on the phone. Several of them, particularly Prime Minister Sharon, he has spoken to on an average of once a week. He has hosted in the Oval Office 4 visitors from the region, starting with Prime Minister Sharon. But there is clearly a different style in how this president engages than some of his predecessors. His objective is to facilitate. His objective is to put the burden on the parties to come to agreements. The style is more low-key. It is based upon the experiences of the past, and frankly, it's based upon the president's own personal style. But do not confuse a difference in style with a lack of interest or a determination to do everything you can to help bring about an end to violence and then a resumption of negotiations. Secondly, this president is firmly committed to Israel and to maintaining Israel's qualitative edge. At that first NSC meeting I mentioned, the president told his principal foreign policy advisors that there was no higher priority in the Middle East than maintaining Israel's qualitative edge and the security and safety of Israel. As we look out over the next 4 years, I think I am confident in saying that this administration will do what it needs to do to help maintain that qualitative edge, particularly in the area of national missile defense. Thirdly, this administration is committed to a very broad and regional-focused effort to deal with the problem. We will keep our eye on the entire region. We have very important strategic relationships with a wide variety of countries in the area. From Israel to Egypt to Jordan, its 2 essential peace partners, to Turkey, to Morocco, to Tunisia, to the Gulf states. The United States has strong relations, and all of those need to be nurtured. Our ultimate objective is to build the broad framework, the broad base within the region, so that when we can get back to a negotiating process, there is a support base there that will help us to achieve the ultimate objective, which is to find a just and lasting peace between Israel and her neighbors. Thank you.
Questions for Assistant Rydell? From the floor again, please state your name and where you're from. Thank you very much, Al.
Sir, one of the weapons that you did not include in your remarks. Over here, Bruce.
It's a little hard to see you with the lights. Okay.
One of the weapons you did not mention that could be used against this country because of its friendship for Israel is the oil weapon. Is that been discounted by the administration? Is that no longer a problem? Is it something we to cut back its production. There's a flurry of other producers eager to grab every penny of new market that's out there. It is something that we keep our eye on. If the situation gets bad enough, obviously it's something we'd have to worry about. But I think we also believe that our relationship with key oil producers, particularly Saudi Arabia, the swing producer, is healthy and strong enough that a repeat of the 1973 nightmare is not facing us at this time.
Ken Jacobson, New York. Mr. Rydell, one of the great concerns that we have is that there'll be an effort by the United Nations once again to bring an international force into the region. We appreciate the administration vetoing an earlier resolution, but there continue to be concerns that the international community will try again. Could you give us a sense of where the government will be going?
This administration will not allow a resolution to be passed that would force Israel to accept an international presence. This administration does not. This administration does not believe that the road to peace in the Middle East is sterile debates in New York or the passing of resolutions there. The road to peace is for the parties to deal with each other directly. We can help facilitate that. Others can help facilitate that. The veto that the president made is one he's prepared to make again.
Hi, Lisa Levin from San Francisco, and I guess it's important to have assurances here for the 600 that are sitting here that the Bush administration is fully committed to Israel. I'm just wondering if maybe a campaign of public relations to the rest of the country and to Israel that is sustained would be important as well, because with relatives in Israel, certainly the feeling, and even hearing you speak, is that this different process and his different methods are actually perceived as being unsupportive. And I'm wondering if there's a way to address that.
You put your finger on an important problem, which is that we do have to fight the misperception of a lack of interest, not just in Israel, but frankly in the Arab world as well. And we are alert to that, and we're trying to find ways to make clear that a change in style does not mean a change in fundamental objectives, U.S. support for Israel's safety and security, and for trying to find a way back to political dialogue and to negotiations. I think any change in administrations, there is a tendency on the part of pundits in the media to try to make small things into big things, and to try to portray administrations in different ways than time will demonstrate they really are. And I'm confident that this president's determination to be Israel's strong supporter will be borne out by the facts. The previous question laid out one of those facts. This administration was willing to use its veto very early on in order to stop an effort which we believe was a terrible mistake.
Good morning, Michael Rothstein from Chicago. I've got a question about the causes of the tremendous change in relations between Israel and the Arab world from last fall to today. It seems to me that for many years, the Arab world's response to Israel was defined as the Arab world's sense of victimhood, colonialism. Israel was just the last vestige of the colonial world oppressing the Arab world from realizing its potential. In more recent times, it was defined where the change toward Israel in terms of economics, that the Arab world had realized that economic concerns, being tired of war, had reoriented the thinking, and I know there might not be a monolithic Arab world, but at least the general view toward reapproachment with Israel and learning to live. Has that new model, the economic model, been proven not to be true? Have they decided now that it's not in the general interest to be in some type of relationship with Israel?
That's a very complicated question. I there is a curious mix, though, to the phenomenon you make, which is the sense that Arabs had 20 years ago that Israel was a threat to them as a colonialist vestige of the past, and those who argued that economic cooperation with it was actually in Arab interest because the forces who oppose peace turned the second argument on its head and said that the pursuit of economic cooperation with Israel was really a way to enhance Israeli colonial imperialist ambitions. That was not pushed back hard enough by the proponents of peace in the region, and it will need to be. One of the very disturbing phenomena of the current situation, as I mentioned, was the lack of confidence and the decrease in confidence on both sides. When one looks at what is being written in many Arab newspapers and many Arab journals today, it is a very disturbing trend. The proponents of peace have to stand up and show some courage now that there is an alternative way, and that the route of Hezbollah and Hamas is not the route that the Arab world wants to take to have a better 21st century than the horrible 20th century that it had. One more. Sorry.
Right now,
I thought he was giving me the one more side. One more is me.
during the previous administration, as a result of pressure put on Israel in an effort to stave off UN activity, Israel agreed to what is now known as the Mitchell Commission, Committee of Inquiry. When the government of Ariel Sharon came into power, Prime Minister wanted to jettison it, but was convinced to stay with it. The Mitchell Commission or Committee is about to drop its report today, tomorrow, sometime this week. What is the attitude of this administration to the setting up of that commission, to its expected findings, etc.?
This administration inherited the commitment that was made by President Clinton to Sharm el-Sheikh in October of last year to receive the Mitchell Commission report. As he said, we will receive it sometime this week. We look forward to seeing what it has to say. We will make our own judgment based on what it says. The Sharm el-Sheikh agreement requests that the President share the Mitchell Commission report with the parties and with the Secretary General, and then publish it under the auspices of the President. We have an obligation to live up to those commitments, and we will do so. We will make our own judgments about what it says when we see it. We've not seen it.
Other Sharm el-Sheikh commitments have not been lived up to, i.e. Sharm el-Sheikh was supposed to bring about a ceasefire. Now, that has not been lived up to. It isn't being lived up to. We don't see when it will be lived up to. Why the commitment to live up to other commitments, which are not as significant as the one about ceasefire in the Bible?
Well, clearly, the failure of the other commitments to be lived up to will help shape our response to the report. But both the Israelis and Palestinians and the Sharon government told us that they were going to continue to cooperate with the Mitchell Commission. In that environment, we didn't think it was appropriate for us to be the ones who said we should stop it from going forward.
Lauren Goldberg, St. Louis, Missouri. Last fall, the State Department came out with a travel warning that has been absolutely devastating to Israel's tourism industry as well as the economy. As somebody who's been to Israel many, many times, and in fact spent several weeks there in January, I felt as safe there as I've ever felt, as long as, of course, you stay out of the particular danger zones. But I wanted to know what conditions need to take place in order for
is a difficult problem. The Department and the Secretary of State have a responsibility to provide advice to Americans traveling abroad, not just to Israel, but to any country. And it's a difficult decision that has to be balanced many factors, including the impact on the economy of a close friend and ally like Israel, but also the Secretary's responsibility to provide informed judgment. The best solution to this problem is simple and obvious: a ceasefire and an end to the violence. That's what we're seeking to accomplish. Thank you.
Mr. Riddell, thank you very, very much for those insights, and extremely timely insights at that. To introduce our next panelist is our National Executive Committee Chair, Tom Homburger from Chicago, Illinois. Thank you, Larry. Good morning. And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We've been fortunate so far this morning to hear from Ambassador Yvie and from the Honorable Bruce Riedel just now, and to learn about the situation. We have another treat for us this morning. We have former State Department Special Middle East Peace Process Coordinator, it's a mouthful, Ambassador Dennis Ross, who is with us this morning also. Dennis has been a long-time activist and player in the Middle East, playing a critical role over the past years. He has served in facilitating the Israeli-Palestinian Interim Agreement, Hebron Agreement, and the Israel-Jordan Peace Treaty. He was deeply involved in the Madrid Conference, which helped bring the Israelis and the Arabs to the peace table initially, to the negotiating table initially. At the beginning of this year, Ambassador Ross left the government and became a counselor and distinguished fellow at the Washington Institute for Near East Policy. There he's working and he's writing a book on his experiences in the pursuit of peace in the Middle East. Ambassador Ross has been a good friend of the ADL. He's joined us on many occasions in the past to share his views, and we look forward this morning to be further educated. Thank you. Ambassador Avery had to leave, and it's too bad because I was going to say that I've known David a long time. The best proof of that is that when we first met, we were both young men. I've also known Bruce a long time, and he's a good friend. I don't know who else would have ever referred to me as Mikey other than Bruce. Do you remember the Life cereal commercial? I'm not going to eat it, you eat it, I know we'll get Mikey. Well, during the Clinton years, whenever there was a particular problem, which seemed to be all the time, Bruce would just greet me as I would be walking into the old office, and he would say, "Hi, Mikey," which usually indicated what the result of the meeting was going to be, which would mean I would be on a plane going out to the area. So he's not just a historian of the Civil War, he also knows certain commercials very well. I think you've heard two very good presentations, and what I'd like to do is offer a number of comments. One set of comments will relate to, I think, one of the questions that I heard posed to Bruce about what's really changed in the region, and also pick up on something that Bruce had to say. And the other will be, believe it or not, a little bit more optimistic in terms of some of the lessons I learned and what they tell us about what needs to be done and what over time might well be done. On the first set of comments, I would say the following. The region has undergone a change. It is undergoing a change because those historic factors that created or
shaped the 1990s no longer exist today. And let me say what they were. If you really look at what happened throughout the 1990s, they were shaped by three events. The first was the demise of the Soviet Union. Once the Soviet Union was no more, it changed the whole character of the Arab-Israeli conflict and the region generally, because those who thought, for example, the Syrians, that they had a strategic option of force against the Israelis, something they call strategic parity, came to realize that didn't exist anymore. You didn't have the Soviet Union who could guarantee confrontations with the United States, which was the key to getting most conflicts under control because of the fear of escalation to a superpower confrontation. You didn't have the Soviet Union to be there to provide unlimited arms in the event that one side wanted to continue to compete. In a sense, you lost what was one of the focal points of conflict generally, and it applied to the region as well. So the first thing that changed, that shaped the 90s, was the demise of the Soviet Union. The second thing that changed was the Gulf War. The Gulf War basically produced an outcome that had the moderates in the Arab world on the ascendancy and had the radicals obviously on decline. Now, after 10 years, that equation isn't quite what it once was. But those two factors had a huge impact on the region as a whole. There was a third factor. The third factor was the original Intifada. First, for the Palestinians, it created a sense that, all right, they had struggled and there could be a political process, and they knew that because the Israelis drew the conclusion at the end of the original Intifada that there was no military solution. And that was a conclusion that was drawn by a wide consensus within Israel, including the Likud-led National Unity government at the time. Those three factors basically shaped the diplomacy of the 1990s. Obviously, they created a context in which something like Oslo could take place. Now, that's a context to understand where we were, and it's a reminder of what will have to take shape if you're going to affect this region in the coming years. Now, let me offer a few lessons from my long experience. Longer than I ever thought it would be, I will tell you. People often ask me, how can you be so committed to what you're doing? And I said, well, I believe in it. And I'm committed, and my wife continues to think that I should be committed. Now, today, she's a lot happier because we actually have a life. Let me tell you the first basic lesson, which almost seems counterintuitive. The first basic lesson, after all the time I've spent this, is that there, notwithstanding everything that is going on in the region right now, notwithstanding the violence that's there right now, at least between Israelis and Palestinians, with all the difficulties, they know there's not an alternative to the pursuit of peace. And the proof of that is not my argument. The proof of that is their behavior over the last 7.5 years. Every single trauma, every single challenge did not undo this process. I've begun to refer to this process as the John Cameron Swayze process. It takes a licking and it keeps on ticking. As bad as things might be, with all the violence of the last 7 months, it isn't only the preceding period in which the process survived, notwithstanding the difficulties. Here we are, we have security meetings going on between the two sides on a more intensive basis. We have Shimon Peres, who's just gone to Cairo and to Amman to talk about the Egyptian-Jordanian proposal to try to bring things under control and stabilize the situation. Every time you think that the violence has become so bad, the mistrust has become so bad that there can't possibly be any way forward, they continue to meet. Prime Minister Sharon sent his son to see Arafat. The point is, they know they don't have an alternative because they live right on top of each other. I like to say that when you refer to Ehud Barak, his former prime minister, he lives in Kalav Yair. It's 800 meters from Qalqilia, one of the largest Palestinian towns of the West Bank. They don't have a choice. Their future can either be perpetual struggle and pain, which neither side in the end will be able to sustain, or they can find a way to peaceful coexistence. They don't keep coming back to trying to stabilize the situation because they have chosen a pathway of perpetual struggle. They keep coming back because they know that's not the pathway. Now, can I tell you that tomorrow it's going to get better? I can't. Can I tell you that this latest initiative is going to work? I can't. Can I tell you that we haven't seen a little ebb of this? I can't. But can I tell you that that somehow, some way down the road, they'll find a way back to peaceful coexistence. They can. My fear is they'll do it through a process of attrition and exhaustion, which will produce lots of victims that are unnecessary and lots of pain, which is hard to endure. And one of the reasons I was as committed as I was is because it's unconscionable to sit, for me, at the time, on the sideline and try to do nothing. But I know that there is a direction, and ultimately that direction will be achieved. I just can't tell you when. Anyway, that's lesson one. Lesson two is there's no imposition of agreements. There's no imposition of outcomes, not from the outside. What Bruce said about an international presence is exactly right. Anybody who thinks that you can have an international presence if the two sides don't agree to it, I have one basic question for you. Tell me who's going to volunteer to go in there if the two sides don't agree. No takers, are there? It isn't going to happen unless both sides agree. But there's also no imposition on the inside. With all the military power that Israel has, it cannot use military force to extinguish Palestinian aspirations. It's a fact. And with all the anger that the Palestinians have, and with those among the Palestinians who think that the Hezbollah model works, it doesn't. Violence has made the achievement of Palestinian aspirations something that is put off for the more distant future. Last December, they were quite close to the achievement of their aspirations, and they couldn't act on it. Today, they're quite far, and the only difference between then and now was the violence. Violence will guarantee that the Palestinians take a long time to get what they want. There's no imposition. You can't militarily impose on the Palestinians, but the Palestinians cannot use violence to get what they want. Now, a corollary of that is that there's also no unilateral solutions that will work and endure. You hear the concept of separation or disengagement. It's a legitimate concept. It may, in fact, be something that ends up guiding what takes place, but it won't come unilaterally. Wherever the Israelis choose to disengage from is one thing. Wherever they choose not to disengage from will become the point of conflict. So unless it's coordinated, unless it's understood, unless it's agreed, it can't endure. It will simply be the new baseline for the conflict. The same applies to a unilateral declaration of statehood. I guarantee the last Israeli government or this one will respond very strongly to a unilateral declaration of statehood. And wherever the borders of that might be, that will become the new point of contention. That will be the new flashpoint. So you can't do things unilaterally. Doesn't mean you have to have a formal agreement. You can have tacit agreements. You can have understandings that don't have to be formal. But you have to have understandings and coordination or it won't work. Now that leads to the next lesson, which is you're going to have to negotiate an outcome. There's no alternative to negotiating an outcome. But here, I think there are a lot of lessons to draw from the past. We made one basic mistake in the past. We ignored, or at least, maybe that's too strong a term, we didn't pay sufficient attention to the gap between what was happening on the table and what was happening on the street. To think that you can resolve the existential issues of this conflict by having a good environment at the table and a terrible environment on the street is a complete illusion. That environment on the street will be corrosive and eventually will undercut what you're doing. And that's what we experienced. We had to do a lot more in terms of focusing on the kinds of ground rules that should govern the negotiating process. I will tell you, every negotiating process has its own dynamic, its own self-sustaining states, its own logic. And when it has a promise, as we saw in the last administration, when it has a promise, the tendency will always be to finesse every problem that arises. It's logical, it's human nature. You don't want to break a process that holds so much promise and potential. But the fact is, every time you allow bad behaviors to take place, what you guarantee is that they'll be sustained because there's no cost for it. There is a new administration. The new administration has the opportunity to create ground rules for a negotiating process, and it should do so. The ground rules should focus on the kinds of behaviors that each side, at least between Israelis and Palestinians, should engage in. Where the Palestinians Palestinians, no more incitement. No promotion of violence. No socialization of hostility. Terror is out. It can't be tolerated. The Palestinians used to tell us they had a zero-based policy for terror. Well, that needs to be institutionalized. There's no question at different points they did. It needs to be reestablished. Now, if you don't want the Palestinians to socialize grievance, then the Israelis also should avoid those actions that create grievance. If you want the Palestinians to be in a position where they sustain behaviors that begin to condition attitudes for peace, that avoid the bad behaviors in terms of incitement, that change their educational system so that maps and their textbooks show Israel, you can't at the same time confront those Palestinians with positions that make them feel powerless. I will tell you, the outward expansion of settlements is something that makes them feel powerless. The confiscation of property makes them feel powerless. The demolition of houses makes them feel powerless. If you want things to go forward, one of the things you're going to have to do in this kind of a negotiating process once you get there, you're going to have to create a context in which there is a code of behavior on each side, where neither one is doing those things that puts the other in the corner. Then you have a chance to sustain a negotiating process. Then you have a chance to create a context or an environment in which negotiation on existential questions can work. Now, are we at that kind of a point today? Obviously not. And the first thing that has to be done is not only to create a different environment, because, as Bruce said, there has been a colossal loss of faith and confidence on both sides. In the Israeli public, the attitude is, we had a government under Barak prepared to go to unprecedented lengths, prepared to stretch in an unbelievable way, prepared to stretch in a way that many thought impossible or maybe unwise, and yet I think most were prepared to support it. And their response, the Palestinian response, was violence. And what was the nail in the coffin for the Barak government was the combination of the violence and the rejection of President Clinton's ideas. Because for the Israeli public, what that told them was, if the Palestinians can't accept that, they can't accept anything. That's why the mood in Israel is so sour and so distrustful of the Palestinians as partners. Even though there's an underlying reality that they know somehow, some way, you have to solve this issue. That's why the concept of disengagement has such attraction. On the Palestinian side, there is also great distrust and anger. They've lost a lot of people, almost 400 dead. They probably have 12,000 wounded. They see a political process that, from their standpoint, did not end Israeli control of their lives. The core bargain of what Oslo was supposed to be about was the following: security for the Israelis in real, meaningful, sustained terms, not reversible, irrevocable. And for the Palestinians, it was an end of Israeli control of their lives and a pathway that would allow them to achieve their aspirations. The core bargain has to be the premise of all efforts. It has to be the premise on creating a context in terms of the environment, and it has to be the premise in terms of any negotiating process. Today, the negotiating process, even if you create a stabilization, which has to come first, it's only logical. Nobody's going to be able to negotiate seriously in an environment of violence. That's a given. So you start by creating a stabilization, and that means dealing with the environment. But if you get to the political negotiating process, which you'll have to get to, because stabilization won't work if there isn't a sense of direction and a sense of hope. If you get to that political negotiating process, then you also have to realize where we are. The Palestinians had a chance at the end of the Clinton administration. It wasn't just Camp David. It was President Clinton's ideas presented on December 23rd last year. Those ideas would have given the Palestinians a state in all of Gaza and nearly all of the West Bank, a capital in the Arab part of East Jerusalem, an unlimited right of return for the refugees to their state. This was a two-state solution, after all. So it would have been completely illogical to have a right of return to Israel if you had a two-state solution. And security arrangements that would have addressed Israeli needs in a lot of respects, but would have also had an international presence. Now, Yasser Arafat could not say yes to that, even though he understood very clearly this was the end of the line. I mean, you want a deadline that works, the environment has to create it. President Clinton's term was about up. President Clinton had invested in this in a way that no president had ever done before, and frankly is unlikely to ever do again. He put ideas on the table that were also unprecedented. It was very clear that he would be gone. It was very clear that Prime Minister Barack was unlikely to be able to win in the absence of an agreement. And it was very clear what the alternative was. And in that circumstance, Yasser Arafat could not say yes. So what it tells me is that when it comes to doing a permanent deal, that's not something that he's capable of doing. But that doesn't mean you throw up your hands and say, gee, that's it. We can't do anything at all. The fact is, he accepted the principle of a two-state solution, and I think he still believes in that. The problem was not that he rejects the concept of peace with Israel. The problem was he focused only on what he got and never what he had to give. The problem was he never thought about how you translate the principle of a two-state solution into a practical solution, a practical outcome. So you can't do a permanent deal because on the one side you have Palestinian leadership. At this point they can't do it. Now you also have an Israeli government that doesn't believe it's possible. You can't approach this as if you still have the Barack government because you have a different government. So the key of diplomacy at this point is to focus on what you can do, not what you can't do, and to recognize that you have to stabilize the situation and you have to create a political process that leads someplace. The kind of issues that can be addressed in terms of a political process are statehood, because it's not a source of contention. Security arrangements, because that's also not a source of contention. And disengagement. Disengagement is a legitimate issue, but only once you've created a context in which you can pursue a political negotiation. So the combination of creating a different environment and then a political process can offer you a pathway. Now, what about, I hope I'm not interrupting you. Okay. I still hope I'm not interrupting you. Let me offer one last lesson on our role. Bruce talked about the fact that this is an administration that is engaged in the Middle East. And I would say it's a given. Any American administration is going to be engaged. Now, when those say, or try to compare President Bush with President Clinton, I say several things. First, don't compare a president who's in the third month of his administration to a president who was in the 8th year of his administration. If you compare President Bush in the third month of his administration to President Clinton in the third month of his, you'll find that there may be a lot more in common than you think. And while we had a situation that wasn't as bad as we currently see in the third month of President Clinton's, we didn't have a good situation. You may recall we had the case of the deportees, the Hamas deportees who were sitting in southern Lebanon, and there was a break in all negotiations. All negotiations were suspended at the time. So there was a pressure for us to be involved. The fact is, the issue from my standpoint of American engagement is not whether you have the president involved or whether we are a mediator or facilitator. It's the kind of process we're prepared to support. In my own mind, there is an interesting paradox. I do believe that when you get to the point where the most existential questions can be addressed, the ones we were trying to do at the end of the Clinton administration, Jerusalem and settlements and borders, when you get to that point, it's the two parties that have to be the ones who are making the decision. It has to be their piece. It has to be their agreement. Crossing that threshold, being prepared to tell their own publics the truth about what it is that is necessary is their responsibility more than anyone else's. The notion that it makes it easier for each side if the U.S. puts a plan on the table, I think is an erroneous notion, because you're not going to produce an outcome of this conflict unless the two sides are the ones stepping up to the plate. The reason I say it's a paradox is, at the point when the two sides have to deal with the most existential questions, we have a role, but it's a role more in the background in terms of assurance and clarification and support. Now, when they're least able to deal with those issues, we may have to be more involved. Not at a presidential level, but we like stability, when it comes to issues like violence, when they're having a problem doing certain things on their own, even when they're making the effort, and we see they're making an effort right now, we may have to play a more intensive and involved, or may have to assume a more intensive kind of role. There's a profound difference between where we are right now and where we were at the end of last year. We were trying to deal with a solution. Now we're dealing with the management and the diffusing and the reestablishment of a negotiating process. At this stage, I think we do have to be involved. I think we have to work with both sides on the kinds of steps that they might take. I think we have to be prepared to let them know what are the steps that they should take. And we should be prepared to make it clear that if they make the commitment to us and they don't fulfill it, we'll be very public about saying that. This, too, I think, is a lesson I draw from the past. Being tough in private is not very meaningful if it is not reinforced in public. Why don't I stop there?
Dennis. Before we go to questions, Dennis, son of Moses, he is Daniel ben Moshe. Our forefather Aaron, the brother of Moses, is known in Jewish tradition and Jewish discourse as an Ohev Shalom Ve'Rodev Shalom, one who loved peace and pursued it aggressively. The Midrash legend has it that Aaron used to act as a go-between between feuding and estranged friends on his own without being prompted by anyone. He would approach one party and say, "Hey, your friend over there is sorry for what he did to you. He desperately wants to make amends." Next, he would approach the other friend and say the same thing. In time, the two parties would eventually reconcile, thanks to his intervention and his fervent desire to create harmony. Of course, the Midrash does not detail for us the occasions upon which Aaron's schemes did not work out, or maybe even backfired. But since he was human, we have no doubt that he did not always succeed. And yet we remember Aaron for his successes, for his noblest of intentions, for his goodness and his yearnings for peace. Dennis, you have dedicated the last several years of your life to one thing and one thing only, and that is the attainment of peace in the Middle East. You tried so hard. You made your peace your raison d'etre, your very reason for being. You chased after peace in a steadfast and arduous pace. Unfortunately, through no lack of trying, we fell short of our objective. We just spent the last hour and a half hearing about the current situation in Israel and the Middle East and how distant the word peace rings in all of our ears. But Dennis, you fought for peace. You gave it everything you had. And this, dear Dennis, will forever be your legacy and forever enshrine you in our hearts. As a token of our appreciation on behalf of the ADL for the years of dedication to your efforts, I would like to present you with a framed Israeli paper cut which features the famous words of our tradition, "Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha." You should love thy neighbor as thyself. And the inscription below reads, "To Ambassador Dennis Ross, with appreciation for your extraordinary efforts to bring peace to the Middle East, your service will always be remembered. The Anti-Defamation League 2001 National Leadership Conference." Dennis, we give this to you with a love, a respect,
South Africa, Sisulu. Thank you very much. Wayne Firestone from Jerusalem. I'm glad you mentioned the Ray of Hope of the Middle East Children's Association. We actually met with them in Jerusalem a week ago, and I too was quite impressed on a sort of personal level that there are people who continue to struggle for this. And the organization was actually turning to the ADL because of our materials in anti-violence and tolerance, the World of Difference program. So hopefully at next year's conference we'll have something very positive to report. But your comments with respect to the flaw in the Oslo process and your observation about Israeli public opinion, which I think is quite accurate, obviously gleaned from your many trips there, I don't know if that reflects really the bottom of where the Israeli public is today. There's a term which maybe you've heard on your many trips in Hebrew that's called friar. For those that are not familiar with the term, it basically translates to American English as sucker. And I think there are a lot of Israelis who feel that American foreign policy has led us to become suckers. And that's today, not the initial intentions of Oslo. And there are people who question at what point we should have recognized that we were suckers. I have two specific questions related to what may be of some help for, if I understood correctly, the comments you made at the end. I think what we're looking for, if we're going to resume any kind of process, is some kind of confidence-building measure that will reach the street. There's a lot of discussion in Middle East politics about the Arab street. I was glad to hear your comments about the Israeli public, because I think the Israeli public is often ignored. The Israel street is simply not taken into consideration. What's happening in the Israeli street today, as you know, in places like Netanya and Kfar literally the entire country is fearful because of suicide bombs, because of external threats. And I think if American foreign policy is going to move forward, not with a comprehensive solution, but with interim steps, which I think is what the Sharon government has indicated, if that is to happen, the Israeli public has to believe that they're not suckers in this process. So my two direct questions are, one, on the internal and very troubling issue of the suicide bombers, is there anything realistic that we can expect from Arafat to do that will help us deal with this problem, which is wrenching our entire society? Question number two is, with respect to the northern border, is there anything we can expect from the United Nations, from Europe, from U.S. foreign policy that is going to help us get our three kidnapped soldiers back and send a message to the Israeli public that it is worthwhile to adhere to United Nations agreements and that there's some team behind it? Thank you. I think you put your finger on something that is really fundamental, because I've heard the term fire a lot myself, and it's actually something that I'm saying to those that I meet from the Arab world, that one of the fundamental miscalculations on both the Palestinian and the Arab world side is to take the Israeli public for granted. And in a sense, even now, I think there's a feeling that somehow, if they believe that your own way won't work, they'll go back to the way things were with Iraq, as if they don't have a responsibility to affect the Israeli public and show them you have a partner and we are committed to. Now, as I said, the anger and frustration level on the Arab street is also very high. And that's why you can't, this is not a light switch. You can't flip it. The attitudes are not going to change overnight on either side. But I think it does start by truth-telling. And it does start by being prepared to address what each side's going to have to do. And that's why I think it also starts by focusing on the kinds of behaviors that are necessary from Palestinians, from Israelis, and from the Arab world more generally, number one. Number two, I think that there is I think the Israelis have a right to expect that their neighbor is going to do all it can to stop acts of terror. You know, there may be random forms of violence that one can't completely get a hold over, and no one can guarantee 100% certainty that you can stop every act of terror. But what you can see is a posture that makes it clear that terror is not going to be tolerated. As I said when I spoke before. The Palestinians said to us repeatedly, in fact, Arafat said to us, he had a zero-based tolerance approach to terror. Well, that certainly isn't the image today. I've seen that they have just rearrested Rantisi. I think what has to happen is we need to see a building of what we saw at the end of last week when Arafat did condemn acts of terror, and they have arrested Rantisi. All I can tell you is that in the past, we knew when they were being very serious. And I think we need to see the same kinds of acts again. Hamas and Islamic Jihad have to know that, A, there's a terrible consequence for them if they carry out acts of terror, but B, there has to be a preemption of it. And there were periods, we had a 2-year period where in fact that was happening. It has to happen again where the process isn't going to go very far, precisely because the Israeli public will have very little confidence in it. If they have no confidence in their security, they're not going to have any confidence in the purpose of the process. And in fact, that's, I think, the key. That's why I say the original bargain, the essence of the bargain is security for Israel and end of control of Palestinians for the Palestinians, end of Israeli control of Palestinian lives for the Palestinians. So that has to happen. And since we've seen it happen before, I believe it can happen again. And the Palestinians have to see that it's in their interest. That it's not a favor they're doing to Israelis, it's not a favor they're doing because the U.S. insisted on it. But if they want to see their aspirations achieved, they have to do that. It's governed by self-interest. No country anywhere would tolerate a situation where their neighbor allows their country or where they are to be a base for attacks. That's simple. That's number one. Number two, in the Middle East, there's been the term, which I'm sure you've heard, quote, international legitimacy, unquote. And what it refers to is, in the Arab world in particular, that Security Council resolution should be seen as having international legitimacy. I used to hear all the time 242, 338, and 425. Well, in 425, the Israelis fulfilled 425. And the Lebanese have not fulfilled 425. I think one posture we have to continue to have is that the Israelis fulfilled 425 according to the UN, not according to a U.S. definition, according to the Secretary General of the United Nations, who confirmed the withdrawal in accordance with 425. The Israelis have done what they were supposed to do in 425. According to 425, the Lebanese are to reestablish protective authority in the south. They have not done that. One of the points that has to be emphasized is that if you believe in international legitimacy, then it isn't only the Israelis who have to uphold it. The other side has to uphold it. I think if we continue to focus on that, and we continue to talk to the Europeans about that, and we continue to emphasize it at the Security Council, then there is a way, I think, to maintain a level of visibility on this issue that is required. So what the Israelis did isn't just sort of accept it, and then you go on from there. The fact of the matter is, it is important for the Lebanese to fulfill that obligation. It's important for the Syrians to make it possible for them to do so.
For technical reasons, Chuck, and those of you waiting at the microphones, we've got to get the satellite feed established for the Prime Minister. And so at this point, I need to thank Ambassador Ross for his comments and amazing insight. Please sit tight, and you will watch the monitors as we go ahead to Israel, and I will remain here at the lectern. To introduce the Prime Minister of Israel, our National Director, Abraham Foxman.
century of existence, Israel has had more than its share of great generals who have become the stuff of legend. Dayan, Alon, Rabin, Sharon. They spent their lives fighting for the Jewish state in war and in the absence of war. Arik Sharon is the last of that generation, the last of the magnificent lions who guarded and nurtured an embodiment of the spirit of Israel. At the age of 14, he joined the Haganah. He fought in every major conflict, from commanding an infantry company in the War of Independence to leading the crossing of the Suez Canal in the Yom Kippur War, which brought about Israel's victory and the eventual peace treaty with Egypt. As a civilian, he has served his country for almost 3 decades in the Knesset, in the cabinet, in the leadership of his Likud party. And if that was not sufficient, he's also an attorney and an author. Today, the great warrior has the opportunity to wage the most significant battle of his career, the battle to finally bring peace to his beloved Israel, to lead his people toward a rapprochement with those who have threatened their destruction for more than 50 years, to hopefully create a climate in which neighbors can learn to live with each other on that small and historic piece of land. Arik Sharon, who we are proud to call our friend for so many years, is a man of wit and wisdom, tested in the crucible of experience, courageous in making decisions, sometimes controversial, mellowed by professional and personal trials. The soldier is now a statesman. It has always been a pleasure and an honor to welcome Arik Sharon to the Anti-Defamation League. And today, it is a supreme honor to invite the Prime Minister from Jerusalem to attend our annual leadership conference and to address 600 young, mature men and women from all over the United States who have come to learn, to be inspired, and to go home as advocates. Please join me in letting the Prime Minister of Israel know how delighted we are to have him here today. Kvod Rosh HaMemshala, Arik Sharon. Thank you, Ed Foxman, National Director, and Glenn Tobias, National Chair. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests. Of course, I would much been happier to be together with you today. I had the privilege to appear many times before you. I have many friends in the audience there, but I have to be here today, so I would like to send greetings from Jerusalem, the capital of the Jewish people for the last 3,000 years, in the united and undivided capital of the state of Israel and forever. Jerusalem belonged not only to us, the Israelis. Jerusalem belonged to all the Jewish people. Jerusalem belonged to you, not less than to ourselves. And altogether, all of us, you there and we here, we are custodians of Jerusalem for coming generations. And no one of us had the right, not doubt the moral right, not to keep Jerusalem for the Jewish people. That is the heart of the Jewish people. That was the dream of Jewish people for thousands of years. And that is the city where Jews never stopped living for thousands of years. It's hard to believe that Jerusalem today is again under
hard to believe that, and I remember that because I had married to participate as a young platoon commander during the War of Independence in our efforts to open the road to the besieged Jerusalem. In those days, no one could have dreamed that after 50 years, Jerusalem will be again under siege. I'd like to tell you that, and I appeared before you many times, the thing that you heard that from me also in the past, Israel is not an Israeli project. Israel is a Jewish worldwide project, and Israel belongs to you not less than to ourselves. And though you are most loyal citizens in the country where you live, I know that your hearts are here, and that is your responsibility to what's going on here, not less than to ourselves. So I would say that when it comes to questions like where are going to be the borders of the state of Israel, for you that you are living there, it would be hard to participate in taking this decision. But no doubt when it comes to Jerusalem, it's not only your right, it's your duty to speak up, and you have to do it. I would like to emphasize the important work of the ADL, fighting anti-Semitism and monitoring Arab press. We are eyewitnesses at the present time to the spread of anti-Semitism around the world. And as a matter of fact, every time that Israel is looked at as being weakened, there is a burst of anti-Semitism. And I think that we are doing tremendous work in fighting anti-Semitism all around the world. As you know, I formed the National Unity Government. I believe that unity is the most important thing now that we must have. It's unity here in Israel among ourselves here, also not a very easy thing, and unity between us and you, our brothers abroad. I formed this unity government, as I promised, was not an easy thing, but we managed to do it, and this government altogether is working in harmony. The first and main goal of this government is to bring or to restore security and safety to the Israeli citizens. That is the first thing. Then, of course, we have to make every effort to reach peace. All of us are committed to peace. I know that generally, generals, and I had been married to serve many years in the military, are suspected to like wars. And maybe, mostly myself, I was portrayed for many years as a general that was looking for wars. But I would like to tell you something personal. I had the privilege to participate in all the wars and the hardest battles of the state of Israel since its establishment. And I saw all the horrors of wars and all the fears of wars. And I had the merit to command maybe the finest units and formations of the Israeli Defense Forces. And I saw my friends being killed in battles. Myself, I was badly injured twice. Once as a young platoon commander when we were fighting to open the road to Jerusalem, the second time after several years, being a commander of a parachute regiment. And I felt those terrible days in hospitals, and I had to take decisions of life and death, of others, of myself. And believe me, that I understand the importance of peace, not less, or I may say even more, than many of the politicians that speak about peace, but never had that experience. But for me, peace is something serious. Peace should last generations. Peace is not an election gimmick. And peace should provide the Jewish people safety and security. country with many, many talents. It's a tiny, small country. But that is the only place in the world where the Jews are having the right and the capability to defend themselves by themselves. And for that, we have to thank God every day. But that must be preserved by us. No doubt it will make every effort to reach peace. I ask Minister of Foreign Affairs, Shimon Peres, who is well known to you, to go to travel to Egypt, to travel to Jordan, and to start trying to create the ground for future negotiations. I asked him also to go to the United States. He's there now, or he's going to be there today, and there is the same effort. Being there on his trip, he made it very clear that the first thing in order to start negotiations, it should be a full cessation of hostilities. I don't speak about the reduction of hostilities. It should be a full cessation of hostility. It should be quiet. And this government will not, I speak about our government, the Shemiti government, will not negotiate under pressure of terror and violence. Once it will be quieter, we are ready to start negotiations. But that, of course, that's the first and the most important thing. Of course, a government, like every government, decided about the main goals that we have to act along. And the first thing is Aliyah, immigration to Israel. This is the most important thing. And we decided that we have to make every effort now to bring another million Jews in the coming 10, 12, 13 years. And that, of course, will change everything here in Israel, from our economy, security, and to prospect of peace. You do know that in the last 10 years, we managed to absorb here 1 million newcomers, mostly coming from what used to be the Soviet Union. But they are still there, maybe close to 1 million Jews. And I'm not a rabbi. I speak about, I'm not for me to decide who is a Jew. I speak about Jews according to the law of return. And they have to do it. It's early. And of course, there are many Jews in Latin America. There are 230,000 Jews living in Argentina now in a very difficult economic situation. About 130,000 in Brazil, 50,000 in Mexico. Altogether, I think it's in Latin America close to 500,000 Jews. There are still 80,000 Jews in South Africa, one of the best Jewish communities, and there are hundreds of thousands of Jews in France, one of the communities, one of the strongest communities when it comes to Jewish national feelings. And of course, we need you. We hope that there are at least 5 million Jews in America, and I know that not everyone will be rushing now to take a suitcase to move to Israel, but I think it's very important, if not all of you, part of you, come to visit us. We need it very urgently. Send your children to study here, send them to summer camps here, strengthen the relations and the touch between Israel and you. And I ask you really to do it. We had, I think, many accomplishments in the last 100 years, and maybe mainly in since then, it never stopped. It had nothing to do with our presence in this part of the country or another part of the country. That's something that started so many years ago. And of course, it's going to be quite a complicated thing to overcome that, but I believe that you can look forward with optimism because you can do it. But one must understand that terror in our part of the world is not a technical issue. It's a strategic problem because most of the wars in our region here started from terror. Arab terror, Palestinian terror. We could not live with terror. We retaliated in order to put pressure upon neighbor countries to stop terror. They could not contain our raids. They applied to the Soviet. The Soviet entered the Middle East, and a chain of wars started that lasted 20 years. And now we are facing again, let's say, a terrible, unbearable terror here. Let's say hitting civilian population. And now, of course, we are fully committed not to escalate the situation because we know that escalation is against our interests, it's against American interests, it's against everyone's interest. And I'm committed that even if we have to take steps, we have to be very careful not to escalate the situation. But at the same time, and that's my commitment, but at the same time, I'm committed, maybe that is my first commitment, for the safety and security of the Jewish people in the one tiny, small homeland. And that is something that, of course, I have to take care of. I would like again to emphasize that Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East. If we were surrounded by democracies, maybe we could have taken more risks coming to political solutions. But by now, that's the situation. I hope maybe that they will come and we'll see around us more democracies. Maybe it will be easier. Again, I would like to thank you so much for listening. And if there is something which is not clear and you have some questions, I'll be ready to answer. Thank you.
Prime Minister, thank you. We have some questions.
Thank you, Abe.
Okay, let me read you the questions. There are 5, and then you can answer.
I will answer if you can ask one by one.
Okay, fine.
Then I'll be answering.
Agreed.
Thank you, Abe.
Okay, George Moss from Los Angeles, California asks, news reports indicate that Yasser Arafat is anxious to be invited to the White House. In your view, Mr. Prime Minister, what must Chairman Arafat do before such an invitation is extended to him?
Well, of course, first, we do not interfere in the decisions of our, I would say, maybe the best friend that we have around the world, the great democracy in the United States. But because you asked it, I would like to answer. I believe that before being invited to Washington, Arafat should stop terror because Arafat is playing with terror. On the one hand, he would like to conduct negotiations. On the other hand, he would like to conduct terror. And all of us know, and that's known also to all that is known to you, but known to everyone that should know that in Washington, that most of the terror which is carried against Israel at the present time is done by military or intelligence organizations which are under direct control of Arafat. And most of our casualties are caused by them. So therefore, one must understand that if Arafat would be invited there, before the full cessation of hostilities that will only encourage more terror and more violence in the region, it will postpone the peace. And, well, I think that Arafat should be under heavy pressure to stop terror. That is the most important thing at the present time. I hope that my answer is clear enough.
It is, Mr. Prime Minister. The second question comes from Peter Alter from Detroit, Michigan. Quote, the Bush administration has made it clear that it will not be as heavily involved in mediating Palestinian-Israeli relations as the previous administration. In your view, Mr. Prime Minister, what should the role of the United States be in the months to come?
So, altogether, I would like to express my thanks. And I heard, I don't know, I don't see you. I believe you do see me. I heard that Ambassador Dennis Ross is there, and that Odell is there. So I would like to thank them and say for all their effort. And maybe also our ambassador is there. So I would like, of course, to greet him. We have to be thankful for all the effort that the United States have done during so many years in order to try and bridge the gaps and to bring the sides together. So we're very thankful for that, because I know that tremendous effort has been put into this, those steps that were taken. But I personally believe that most of the negotiations and talks should be bilateral. It's very important that the United States will be ready once the sides would like to have that help to get this help, and I'm sure that we'll get it. Basically, I think maybe that the best thing is to try and let the sides, first of all, to solve bilaterally the complicated problems that exist.
Prime Minister, thank you. The third question comes from Sylvia Margolis from Chicago, Illinois. I quote, terrorism, as you indicated, continues to be a deadly reality for Israelis. To what extent are the terrorist groups which are targeting Israel also a threat to the United States and the Western world?
Thank you for that. I'd say, if we speak about stability in the region, and I think that stability in the region is one of the most important issues for the United States. I think that if there is an immediate danger to the stability of the Middle East, that is terror. It's happened that we live in an area which is cradle of terror, from Afghanistan and from Bin Laden in Afghanistan to Lebanon, where the Iranians are trying to establish now as an independent, Iranian independent kingdom of terror, local, regional, and international. And that is, I would say, the major threat at the present time to the stability in the region. Stability interest, the clear interest of the United States, the interest of Israel, and so on. So that is one thing. The second danger that I can see now, and as a matter of fact, it might happen that in the future, the terrorists might be using mass destruction weapons like chemical weapons and biological weapons. I don't speak about the nuclear weapon. And there, when you speak about nuclear weapons, we have another danger, and that is Iraq and Iran. Iraq is no inspection now for over 2 years, and they have the know-how. And we all remember that what happened 20 years ago when Israel took the Israel-led by the late Prime Minister Menachem Begin, and I had the merit to be a part of that inner cabinet and I think that very serious inspection should be resumed there, and that's what should be done, and that is a major interest, I believe, of us, of the region here, the Middle East, America, and Europe. And then, of course, we have the danger of Iran being provided with from know-how to materials by North Korea and Russia. That's another danger. So I would say these are all the dangers. Altogether, a small region with big dangers.
Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister. You had anticipated a question from Michael Salber about the proliferation of mass destruction weapons between Iraq and Iran. So I will turn to the last question coming from Jerry Samuels of Scotch Plains, New Jersey. And I quote, "We are all concerned about the fate of the 3 Israeli soldiers and Israeli civilians kidnapped by Hezbollah at the outbreak of the violence. What is being done to free the Israelis being held captive in Lebanon, as well as the 4 Israeli soldiers missing since the 1980s, and what is it that we can do?"
Well, that is a real tragedy. It's hard to explain the feeling of those families. They don't know if their beloved are alive or they are dead. They have not got any, I would say, sign from them, from those missing soldiers in Lebanon, the 3 missing soldiers there, for, I would say, 19 years now. And we have the pilot there, also the navigator, Ron Arad. They have not heard from him now, I think, more than 12 years. And we have the 3 kidnapped soldiers kidnapped by the Hezbollah, violating the agreement between us and Lebanon when we withdrew from Lebanon, and the Lebanese had really to deploy their forces along the border, but they never did it. And instead of that, the Hezbollah, they deployed their forces on the border. And I would say almost daily, those small incidents, but from time to time, what happened was what really happened with those soldiers. And we have another civilian who is full colonel in the reserves that was kidnapped by them in Europe and was taken to Lebanon. It's a real tragedy. I'm meeting quite often with the families. It's hard to describe I would say, the problems, their pain with our own families. We cannot get any answer. What we need now, first of all, to know, are they alive? And I don't think that the world would sit aside and not put pressure, but pressure should be put on Syria. Pressure should be put on Lebanon. Well, Lebanon itself is occupied by Syria, but pressure should be put in order to get that information. And I think that if I can maybe apply to you and ask you, please do your main effort. I mean, we are trying every channel, every possibility, but it's not enough. Pressure should be put in order to get a sign of life of those missing soldiers and officers. And I would like really to ask you, and there's no doubt that it's within the scope of your activity, please put pressure on everyone that has the information. I think the world cannot sit quiet when we see this tragedy. And again, I would like to thank you so much for being able to talk to you. I'm sorry that I'm not sitting among you. I'm sure I would have felt much better.
Mr. Prime Minister, we will offer you an opportunity when you're next in the States to sit with us. And at this time, I would like to thank you for your graciousness and your time, knowing that your schedule is very busy, and to let you know that while you can't see us, we can see you, and to let you know that we stand with you. We stand with you in your quest for peace. Chairman. Thank you.
I would like, first of all, to thank you. Second, to tell you that I accepted your invitation. And third, though I don't see you, I feel your friendship. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello.
I just want to tell all of you to hang in here, and inspiration and concentration have been evident this morning. We're now going to move into some perspiration, perhaps, and go to our workshops. Let me tell you a few things about the workshops. Have a seat. Relax. We want, first of all, for you to take the information that you've heard this morning and use it in your regions. Bring it home. Be an information source. Relate the sentiment by our panelists and speakers this morning. Right now, the information you've gathered is cutting-edge information, and it's of value in your regions. Which brings us to the workshops. We have had many questions during just the last 12 hours about how do I find out more about ADL and its programs and how I can get involved. And so what I'd suggest and what I'd like you to do is look at the workshops as an opportunity to see in depth just some of the programs that are involved. And after the workshops, take advantage of speaking with the people who are on the panels as well as those that are in attendance. And that will definitely heighten your interest and also get you thinking about your involvement and what you may or may not be interested in. But again, it will be that kind of menu or smorgasbord that we want you to look at in depth and let your mind go a little bit as you consider it. The workshops are listed in your trifold program, and there will be staff members in the hallways directing you on how to reach any particular workshop. A couple of other things that are of extreme import, but I'm not going to tell you. You have to keep it down. Embassy assignment sheets are at the lobbyist information desk. That's the embassy assignment sheets. Little cards are also at the lobbyist information desk. And congressional meeting sheets are at the lobbyist help desk as well. So both embassy assignment cards and the lobbyist sheets, same place, should be relatively convenient for you. We're going to be reconvening here for lunch at noontime, and we're going to start again right on time. So I ask that you make sure you're here well in advance of that. Enjoy the workshops, and we'll see you back here